This is Prac with iRepairMD, and today we have the original Mavic Pro. The owner of it is a military trainer. He crashed it into while doing a training flight, crashed it into a tree limb, causing it to fall. And when it fell on this side here, and this part broke off. And now, I mean, everything else is working. The gimbal is working. The only problem is that this back arm right here will fold upward, and this is not good for flight characteristic, and also it can cause the drone to crash because these drones will have a limiter. See these rear arm pivot limiter. It's there to prevent it from folding up, so that way it can keep the drone upright. And with this one, if you add too much, if you try to correct itself, or the motor spins a little too hard, can cause this to bend upright. That will cause the drone to crash, and it'll do a lot of damage. So today, we're gonna be repairing the rear arm limiter, pivot limiter on a Mavic Pro. What you'll need for this repair is a new part right here. This is a part that you can purchase from my website. And then we have a new screw set. This is a lot easier. It's magnetic, and it has all the bits needed for the repair. The screwdriver is small, it's manual, and this is the most efficient way to repair this particular drone. With that said, let's go ahead and do the repair. First thing we need is to go ahead and heat up our solder gun, our solder iron, because we will need it. And then let's turn the drone over. And what we're gonna do first is, let's bring this, bring my tray, put all the screws in. We will need to remove the torque screw up, okay, out of the bottom. First we do the lid and then the two covers attachment. And this one I will need the T5 right here. And this particular one is called the CRVH.5. Let's go ahead and take the screw off. This is the one to the access of the front arm pivot. And let's go ahead and remove the port. Okay, so let's go ahead. What I'm going to use is a clipper. There we go. Just remove these clippers here. And now what you have is another set of torque screw right here that we need to take off. This has a magnetic tip. Very helpful in this repair. I like this screw set because it's actually, this is all magnetic. Falls in magnetically. It's small, compact. I can carry it around anywhere with me. It's in my Go kit. When I fly these drones out, I do have spare parts just in case something happens and I would need to access the tools to do the repair. I'm going to turn this over. Okay. Now you have 4 torque here, and 2 more here on top. I like of all the drones, I'd say my favorite still is the Mavic, the original Mavic Pro, because it has, it's almost like if you were to equate to a car, this would be like a Ford F85 Ford F-150 or a Chevy Hilux. I mean, a Toyota Hilux. One of these old cars that just works, and it's easy to repair, easy to fly. The parts is ready. Parts is readily available. You can buy many parts for it, and there's less restriction. So you want a drone with less flight restriction, I would recommend the Mavic Pro. You can fly more places, and believe it or not, it can take a lot of beating, and the parts are readily available for the repair. See the cap shell right here, you see the GPS, this GPS unit. All the new drones, everything is so miniaturized that one board will replace all these other sensors. And the downside with that is if something was to go wrong, you won't be able to replace, say your GPS was to go wrong, you would have a hard time. You can't just replace the GPS. If the speed controller was wrong, you can't. Gimbal controller is wrong, you really can't. So this one, you have everything miniaturized, but compartmentalized also, so you actually have it in different location. Okay, with that said, what we need to have access to is this right here, okay? So we're gonna lift this off. Again, we'll keep the same screw, and there is another screw right here. We're gonna go ahead and, actually I won't keep this on, I'll pull it off later, okay? We're gonna go ahead and actually pull the power cord. This is gray, white, and black. And I'm gonna use a crimper right here. Okay, give you guys the best angle. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now we can go ahead and clamp this off. This is the black. These are adhesive. Okay. We need to free this. We need to actually separate this arm from the drone and the motor in order to actually replace the pivot joint. Okay, we'll keep this going. All right, so now we have that exposed. Now let's concentrate in this area right here. Let me zoom into that so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now you have two Phillips. Let's go ahead and switch over my bit to a Phillip bit. Phillip here. Okay. And there should be two screws here. Love the magnetic tip. See, it's magnetic. Let's go ahead. And there's also another, these are rubber gasket sealant. That's kind of like blocking it. So let's go ahead and pull this off. We're gonna put all the sealant back, but we're gonna use a hot glue gun in this case, or you can use silicone, but hot glue gun works better for reworking, just in case. Okay, take the piece off here. After that, okay, a little bit. Okay, if that's gonna be, I'm gonna use a tweezer to pull that off. Now, you see, you should be able to lift this off easy. Okay, right here. And now let's go ahead and go back to the turn here. We have to remove, okay, let me go turn this over, and that's the back of the drone here. And that's the torque that we will take care of. Go back to the original torque. Screw right here. Okay, and let's go ahead and take that out. Again, this particular drone is still probably the best drone for the money, and also gives you a lot of location flying option. It's manual. It's perfect for a lot of use. And if you have a hard time repairing this, or you don't want to do this repair yourself, you can always contact me. The link is below, and I help you do the repair. So now let's go ahead and pull this out. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put this drone aside now. And what we're going to be concentrating on is just replacing it with this piece right here. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and give you guys a really good close-up also. Okay. you can see here, there are 3 Phillips. Let's go ahead and switch off. 3 Phillips into here. Okay. Make sure you buy the right side. There's the left and right, according to what part of your pivot arm is broken. A pivot limiter. Okay, now this is a bracket to prevent it from sliding out. Once we remove that, just all you have to do is just go ahead and remove this from here. This bracket right here. Okay, and now, I forgot, you have to also take this off here. Okay, go switch over to Phillip, and then you should be able to remove the bracket. Okay, and this should slide right off. After we take this, it should slide right off. Okay, pull right out. Okay, you see this limiter right here. Let's go ahead and pull this off here. And now let's go ahead and put new limiter in. Slide it into place, like we have here. Oops, the wrong side. There you go. Slide it into place, like we have here. Now let's go ahead and put the pivot mechanism in place. This is the pivot mechanism. Slide it in, the 3 wires, the gray, black and white, run it through. And now you have this tip right here. Make sure that's aligned to this screw here. So we can go ahead and do so. Push it in right here. Okay, and now make sure this is also lined up. Let's go ahead and put the screws into this first. And this is the 3 Phillip that we took off. Just put it back, replace it. Now let's go ahead and switch off my head here. I like this, it's small and short, easy to use. Now I'll go ahead and use the magnetic feature of it. Okay. Here we go. Now let's go ahead and screw it back in. This should be a fairly quick repair. You should be able to do it in under 30 minutes if you're proficient enough. And I'm trying to do this entirely without editing, so you can see this is how long it'll take me to do it. And you too should be able to do this. And if you need any of these parts, the screwdriver, the screw, any part for this repair, it's on our website. The link is below. And should you need parts that's not listed on there, just send me an email, show me a picture, and most likely I will have that. We ship internationally to almost every country that the US Post Office ship to. Okay, so now this is done. Let's go ahead and put the hex back into here. So we're gonna slide the hex back in to place right here. Excuse my ugly nails, because when you do this kind of job, you can't really wear gloves. Your nails have, the appearance of your nail will take a hit because you'll be using your nail to scratch and scrape. All right. So now you can see, now we can pivot. Oops, you can see what happened when we don't slide it all in. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pull it off. Okay. Okay, now let's put the screw, put this limiter in. Now see how it's flush like so. Now let's go ahead, screw this into place. Make sure the limiter and the pivot are all engaged with the screw. And now you can see works just great. Okay, Let's go ahead and put it onto the drone again. Right, so we bring the drone back in. And this is the back arm that we're replacing. See that right here? This is it. And I will go ahead and fasten it in. Okay, there's a slot that you want to put the ring through, and that is in there. Now let's go ahead and screw this in. Okay, so now I will go ahead and bring the screw, the Phillip, the two Phillip that we took off earlier, onto here. All right. So now this is the Phillip. Switch over my head to Phillip. Okay. Again, this is probably the most versatile drone, the most affordable. If you're able to get, you want to fly a drone and you want the one that you can repair yourself, there's a whole lot of tutorial on how to maintain this drone, because this is by far the best backup drone for your money. There are some areas that's restricted by geofencing that DJI was forced by the FAA to do. These particular drone and older don't have that limitation due to it was created prior to the new laws. So if you find that you can't fly your newer drones in an area where you guys need to operate, whether it's for contracting or photography or real estate, consider maybe buying a Mavic Pro, the original one, off the eBay marketplace, and maybe if it's repairable, you definitely, I think you will find it very beneficial to you. Okay, now I'm going ahead and expose the wire. We're gonna re-tin it so we can solder. Okay. All right, so now all the wires are exposed, and I'm gonna give you a close-up again. I want to give you guys the best angle possible. That way you too can do this yourself, should you want to. And if not, you always have me to help you. Okay? So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and use my board here. Let's do don't want the solder to fall onto the logic board. So let's go ahead and re-tin this area, this wire. All right, I'm adding it. I am, again, not the best solder person, but I am definitely learning the ropes by making lots of mistakes. And thank you guys who are professional solderer for giving me tips. I can always get more advice from people. There's a whole lot to learn, and this YouTube environment I find to be very valuable due to the selfless instructor out there who wants to share common knowledge, open source knowledge, so that the world don't have to work on buy disposable items where they can be repairable. Okay, so now that we have this all tinted, okay, let's go ahead and work on the black port. You can see, should you have a hard time knowing where black, white, and gray is, you can see right underneath on top, you see G is for gray, W is for white, and B is for black. So let's go ahead and we tin the black, and let's go ahead and put the black into place. The black power connector. Now that the wicks is well done. Okay, now we go ahead and go to the white. connector. And again, let's go ahead and make it fluid first. And now the white is in place. Let's make sure everything is all soldered. White's in place. Now let's do the gray. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so now that we have all that, let's go ahead and turn off the solder iron. Once we turn off the solder iron, let's go ahead and reform the cable. Let me go ahead and zoom out, see what I'm talking about. All right, so now the cable, the flight cable, let's go ahead and reconnect onto here and then secure everything back in before we put the shell back on. Okay. Now that everything here is in place the way it is, we can go ahead and secure everything using a hot glue. So hot glue the area, the tip right here into place, hot glue that spot. Now go ahead and loop the cable, hot glue all connectors here. I'm also gonna hot glue this area here to protect it. Adding hot glue in this area will actually protect the exposed wire and components from possible humidity that could cause a short. So I would say to make this last longer, hot glue this whole area, protect the logic board and everything on it, okay? There you go, we hot glue all the key component into place. So now, this place has hot glue. Okay, once it's installed, maybe I can zoom out a little bit more so you see the overall. There we go. Now we have a drone that is almost ready. Let's go ahead and put the GPS back on. GPS connector and the top shell. Okay. I'll slowly set everything. Make sure all the clips snaps into place properly and everything is flush. Okay, if it's not flush, make sure it is. Okay. Okay, now that everything is in here, close this off, close the shell. Let me go ahead, and sometimes this one has a little, the top is a little bent, the shell right here. So I gotta make sure it fits properly. There we go, snap everything into place. Now, open it up again and go ahead and put our screws in. Okay, let's go put a hex screw or torque screw into place. First thing is go ahead and tighten the top right here. Top torque, other side, also top torque. Okay. Okay, that piece right there, this one has came off. Let's make sure we have the right screws into place. Okay, that is done. Let's go ahead and put this in. Okay, snap all in. Now I'm gonna go ahead and dump all this in here. Let's go ahead and put the cap back on. The vent cover. I love this new screwdriver actually over the previous one. I do recommend this for all the newer drones. The Phantom 4, if you're still fixing the Phantom series, you still need the other one, the one I used in my previous video. But this one, most of the new GI drone don't require a deep well to push into. Okay, let's turn the drone over to the other side. All right. Now we gotta work on this area right here. I'm gonna start off from the back. Shell right here. And there we go, the other back shell. And then remember that screw that we forgot that we took off. Let's go ahead and put that into place too. Put the torque screw in. There we go. All right. Now we have the 4 in the well here, and then we'll go for a test flight of this drone. After that's all done. Okay. Drop this in. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and put the battery into the drone. And this is the part that we replaced. So we want to make sure that this is getting energy and powering up. So we'll tap the battery in. Power it on. There you go, you saw that twitch. And of course we're gonna go test fly this to make sure this works. But anyways, everything works well here. This is Prac with iRepairMD, and what you saw was a back arm limit, a pivot limiter replacement on the original Mavic Pro. This is Prac with iRepairMD. Safe flying and safe repair. Till next time, don't forget to click like and subscribe.